Welcome to Ask GCN Anything, and this week we have questions on how to choose your perfect saddle, how to get back to fitness after injury, and what to do before race day.
Don't forget, if you want to have your questions answered in the comments below, use the hashtag talkback for all of your cycling related questions, but to be in with a chance of winning a free 3-month subscription to Zwift, use the hashtag Ask GCN Training.
Yeah, and that would come in useful.
Yeah, it's like ice skating.
Through this snowy, wintry weather. Right, let's get into it, mate. First question is from Darren Horrocks. If you know your FTP, which is the maximum you can do for 1 hour, how do you work out what is sustainable for 2 hours or 3 hours or even longer than that?
Well, Darren, it's a brilliant question, but there really is no one-size-fits-all answer. It depends very much on the type of rider you are. So, for example, I was a sprinter and my 1 hour power was significantly different to my 3 hour power. And it also depends on your training history quite a lot. So if you never work on training really hard for 3 hours and trying to really boost your muscular endurance, then you're not going to have high numbers.
Yeah, so for example, Chris, you're on one side of the spectrum with quite a considerable drop. And then someone like Bradley Wiggins or Fabian Cancellara or Tony Martin or a TT specialist, or even a climber for that matter, they're not going to see such a drop. But out of interest, mate, what was your kind of peak?
I'm glad you asked.
20 minutes. Go on, let's see it.
So for the 20 minutes, we had 426 watts.
And go on for an hour?
For an hour, 398. So that's quite a difference already.
Yep.
And then once you get past an hour, so 90 minutes, 354. That's quite a steep drop, I think. And then when you get down to 3 hours, it was only 320 watts.
Yeah, so as you can see, there is quite a considerable drop, but there's still good numbers, mate.
Well, I survived.
Yeah. And the winner of this week's Zwift question is Jelmer Benjamins. And he comes in with this question. Hi GCN, I'm a 20-year-old road cyclist from the Netherlands who competes at local races. I train about 11 hours a week on my road bike. Since I'm currently in my gap year, I decided to start delivering mail 2 times a week. It's about 3 hours of cycling each delivery day, so around 6 hours in total per week. Does this count as training as well? Or should I do some additional training when I'm done delivering mail? I hope you can help me with this question. Well, we hope we can help you. Chris, Have you got any ideas on this one?
Well, I do, James. That's why I'm here. So, Jelmer, despite those rides obviously taking up quite a bit of your time and you will be pedaling, they don't really count towards your weekly total of training because they're not specific sessions and you're stopping every however many yards to pop post in a house. Instead, on those days, you should view them as a long walk for a start. So imagine you're taking a dog for a walk for like 3 hours or whatever it is. And then you're much closer towards the effect that's actually having on your body, even if you do make the occasional effort. Instead, on those days, what you should do is focus on doing some short, intense efforts. Because obviously, if you're delivering mail all morning, it's going to take up a lot of time. Then do a short, intense session in the afternoon. So something with sub 5-minute efforts, so either sprints or anaerobic efforts, that sort of thing. And then you get a really good training effect because, of course, you've got 11 hours.
There's plenty of time there.
Yeah. If you're doing 11 hours a week, there's plenty of time to build enough fitness to do the races you'll be doing over in that part of the world. And Holland's got some amazing roads for training specifically as well. So you're not going to be lost.
Yeah, and now you've got 3 months free subscription from Zwift. Why don't you use some of the workouts that Zwift allows you to use? And it's also will make the winter go a little bit easier.
Yeah,
and you can and there's also some really good workouts in there that will really help you implement those intervals.
Enjoy. Next up is Richard Isaacson. Any tips on choosing a new saddle? My current one feels wooden and has got to go, but the choices and prices seem to be never ending. Will more comfortable saddles cost more, or are those two factors generally independent? Fit, comfort, and not giving my wife a financially triggered heart attack take priority over weight savings.
Right, interesting question. And as we all know, saddles are an incredibly personal item, and they're, like you said before, there's no one size fits all. Everyone is different, everyone has different size sit bones, and that's ultimately what you're sitting on. So first off is I would go and get yourself either measured, so you can sit on these kind of like sand platform things, so you can work out your distance between your seat bones, and then find a saddle that fits, because ultimately the fitting is the best. You want to take fitting over price, cost, etc.
Yeah, definitely.
And most saddle manufacturers will offer a range, so they offer the same style and same shape in a few ranges, going from carbon rails and super ultra light to more alloy or even steel, which will be a lot less of a cost. But first, 100% work out one that fits and that is comfortable. So that's, you know, going to a bike shop and trying one, and then work out what your price range is. But I wouldn't go for the carbon one if it's uncomfortable. I'll go for an alloy one if it is comfortable.
Yeah, I would add
that makes any sense.
That actually generally most manufacturers offer you a money back guarantee, so you can take the saddle back and exchange it for another, or just get your money back. And also, over the last few years, I used to buy my saddles because I didn't like the ones we were sponsored with, and I used to buy sale items. I think the Physique saddle that I bought last year was actually 45 quid. So £45, whatever that is.
Yeah, so it's not too bad for a really nice, comfortable backside, which you won't regret spending money on. Trust me. Next question comes in from Lon Zuma. I hope I've pronounced your name right. I will be doing a sportive, but at the start, there is an hour waiting in a designated area. Is it useful to warm up before that, or do I just do some stretches while it's waiting?
I think it's definitely still beneficial to warm up for a little bit, even though you've got that long cooling off period.
It did feel though, before a race, we all often did a good warm up and then we sat on the start line for ages, you know, waiting for this, that and the other but it was worth it, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think you can undo a good warm-up, even if you have a long break in between the actual finish of the warm-up and the start of the event. One thing that is crucial, though, in that interim period, you want to stay well hydrated, well fueled, and you actually want to stay warm. So if you can take like thin layers with you, bits of plastic actually work really well that you can then tuck in your pocket for later.
Or if you do have a friend or a family member or someone who is there on the sidelines watching, then you can always put a cape on or a big thermal layer and then give it to them before the start. That always works well for us.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, good luck with that and good luck with your sportive.
Next up then is Matt Parsons. Is it better to focus on one training session and do it 3 to 4 times a week, or change it up and have a sprint session, FTP, VO2 max every week, etc.?
I personally, depends on what you're kind of going for and what your goal is. But I personally would split it up and mix it up as well. I would put in some VO2 sessions, put in some FTP sessions, and yeah, really keep it, you know, like diversify all the sessions, because I think it's better and I think your body actually likes it and prefers it more.
Yeah, obviously the key times in the year, so you don't want to be throwing all your energy at trying to spread yourself too thinly.
No.
Certain times of the year are great for building certain aspects of your fitness, but on the whole, mix it up.
Yep. Next up, Alfonzo Ferguson. I've just finished an FTP booster and have 2 weeks before I go on a trip for 3 weeks. So I won't be able to train. What kind of training should I be doing before the trip to keep me motivated and fit? And what is best when I get back?
Well, you know what, Alfonso, it's going to be hard for those 3 weeks, isn't it? So whilst you're away, we'll start with that. You want to do as much as you possibly can movement-wise, so that'll keep your heart and lungs going at least. If you can run up the stairs instead of walking up the stairs, that's a great place to start.
Yeah, if you don't have a bike, then do go out on a run just to keep that cardiovascular fitness up.
Yeah, that'll make it easier when you get back. But before then, you want to really, really push the ceiling of your fitness. So you really want to go out and set some PBs, as it were. Just absolutely push yourself as hard as you can for the next couple of weeks, because you're not going to dig yourself too big a hole before you go away. But the fitter you are before you come back or before you go away, the quicker and easier it'll be to regain your fitness. Yeah,
exactly. And if you do work really hard, remember you've got those 3 weeks rest. So you can drive yourself kind of really quite low or go really hard, because you have got the 3 weeks rest period or recovery period.
You might find that you're actually going pretty good when you get back.
Yeah, exactly.
Sonic Jazz is up next with how often should I check my tyres PSI?
Good question. And I ride clincher tyres at the moment. So I would check them around once or twice a week, depending on the weather and the temperature. But if you're riding tubular tyres, then I would check it more than kind of like once a day, really.
Yeah, latex tubes.
Yeah, they do.
Pressure to seek out a little bit.
So yeah, try that. Next question is from Ed Markey. On the topic of losing grip and coming off your bike, this may seem like an odd question, but what's the right way to fall off? I've read we should keep our hands on the bars, pull elbows in and take the blow with bigger body parts. Any advice?
I'm not sure about that. You could fracture a rib, couldn't you?
Yeah, I would say I'm quite good at falling off.
I would say you were as well.
Because I haven't actually, touched wood, broken any bones, but...
Apart from when you thought you broke your kneecap.
Oh yeah, I thought you were going to skip over that one.
No.
But yeah, I personally would try and, if you're going over the handlebars, try and land on the back side of your shoulder. So if you are feel like you're going, kind of roll up and then don't land on your head or your neck. Try and protect those areas. So like tuck in and more go into a forward roll.
To be honest, I just aim for something soft. Always look for something soft to crash into.
Yeah, that's a good point. Lars Borgman comes in with, hi, I have a question about training. How much training do I need to do over the winter to not lose any of my fitness? Because I don't have any motivation to go out in the cold and dark. I'm 15 years old. Greetings from the snowy Germany.
I can completely understand not wanting to go out in the cold and the dark.
It's snowy and cold here as well.
Yeah, so like 4 to 6 hours of some sort of exercise. If you want to keep your cycling fitness, then you want to do cycling. But at your age, it's still great to do loads of other sports. So skating maybe over there, running, hockey, any sorts of,
anything that raises your heart rate, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. If you do want to just work on your cycling specific, then trying to get a couple of hours in on the indoor trainer or something like that would be really useful.
Or if you've got a cross bike at the weekends, you can go out in the snow a little bit.
Or a mountain bike, fat bike. Yeah. Bit of everything.
Then we have Logan Duffy. What's the best session to do the day before a race?
Right, good question. And I personally used to do some openers. So the day before the race, we would normally travel on the Friday if we were racing the Sunday. And on that Saturday, we would do a ride, like a pre-race ride, and that would...
No, I'll tell you what would happen. We would do a pre-race ride, and Hank would sit on the rollers.
Yeah, they would go out on a pre-race ride, and I would sit on the rollers because that's kind of what I like to do. But yeah, I used to do a good 15-minute warm-up and then do some kind of ramp-ups and rev-outs, and that would normally kind of like get that travel out my legs, get the blood going, and I would actually, do better in the race, the better pre-race ride I had, if that makes sense.
And I can vouch for this. We'd come back and Hank would be absolutely dripping in sweat. But sure enough, come the race day, I can rarely think of a day where you were actually going badly.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, I was,
Whereas the rest of us, we'd go out and we'd have a bit of a ride, but we wouldn't do it as quite specifically sometimes. Yeah,
I did I always got quite nervous before big races, so I used to really focus on that pre-race ride being a really important part of the whole race situation. So yeah, getting a good pre-race ride in is important. So try that. Try getting on the rollers or the turbo and implement some hard efforts, and that should help you. So now we're done with the quick fire round. We actually did our Meet the Presenters video. Well, you did yours a week ago and I did mine the week before that. And we got loads of questions in from all of you lovely people, and we thought it'd be a good time to answer them here. So Chris, here's a question for you. That was quite a ride. What an interesting peek into your background and character. You made a comment at some point about how you didn't enjoy races at the end of your career. Paraphrasing heavily, near the part you talked about your grumpy, anguished race face, could you explain a bit more about that, really?
Yeah, well, I just felt like I was missing out on other bits of life, family life and just other stuff that I hadn't yet done. And that was a huge factor in deciding to stop, to be honest. Yeah,
because you started racing super early, didn't you? And that's kind of what you just cracked on with. Yeah. And it is a full-time job. When you are racing pro, it is totally full-time. It takes your entire focus.
Yeah, 24/7. And if you don't live your life like that, then your performance just suffers. And that was another factor, really.
Oh, cool.
Right, you've got one now.
I have.
From Rob23 Wheeler. Nice to hear of a fellow Gloucestershire lad doing well. What motorbikes do you own?
If you're not from the UK and you don't know where Gloucestershire is, it's in the Cotswolds, which is it's down the south of England, which is in the countryside. And yes, I own a few motorbikes. I own a Triumph Thruxton, which is an air-cooled vintage looking motorbike. I've got a BMW GS 1200, and I've also got a K1000, which is kind of a cafe racer. I think actually my motorbike garage is bigger than my bicycle garage. Right, question for you, Chris. I really enjoyed this video. May I offer something to try? Have you ever gone dairy-free for a month? As I see you've got asthma. What about whole food plant-based for a few weeks? It might help with your asthma some.
Well, Andrew, when I was racing, I was dairy-free from I think 1999 onwards, and it did help. I was lactose intolerant. That's just one of those factors. Plant-based, yeah, I think it was a brief spell when I was a kid, actually. when I did decide that, I'd be vegetarian. But I think that was more about losing weight than it was actually about being a vegetarian, and I didn't notice any difference in that.
But you cope quite well with asthma, don't you?
Eventually, yeah. I had to have loads of different inhalers, like trial periods, until I got one that actually worked for me.
Oh, well done. Well, it worked out for him. So if you have got asthma out there, you can still become a pro.
Next up, question for Hank. James A. McGuire says, I knew that was Nigel Mansell at 4:33. He was my childhood hero when it came to F1. What I couldn't figure out, though, was why on earth he'd be standing in the middle of a pro cycling team. How did Nigel have the relevant skills to mentor you?
Good question, and I would say Nigel had the relevance to coach us because he was at the top end of the sport. He was a Formula One world champion, and he was actually
in the car.
One year the biggest paid sportsman of all time. So yeah, he was able to coach us through the relevance of how to be a professional, how to be an ambassador, how to hold ourselves, and how to cope through nerves and pressure.
Yeah, and actually the best thing about him was that he only dealt in facts and figures. If you couldn't quantify something, he didn't care. So how you felt or anything wasn't relevant unless you could actually put it into facts and figures for him.
Yeah, he's a great man. We've come to the end of this week's Ask GC Anything.
We have. If you want your questions answered next week, don't forget to use the hashtags TalkBack for all your cycling related questions, and to be in with the chance of winning the free 3-month subscription to Zwift, use the hashtag Ask GCN Training.
Yeah, don't forget, if you did enjoy this video, then give it a big thumbs up, and if you would like to see our Meet the Presenter videos, then click down there.